We've done a lot of discussion and put some snippets together for our website, talking about what we do at topsalesperformer.com. And again, just interested in what was the impetus for you to found the firm?
Well, back in 2015, I had just left my career as an executive sales management in an IT services organization. So I was responsible for a lot of sales guys, and I knew I wanted to stay in selling. So I decided that the best way for me to do that was to start a sales training organization, but I needed some foundation to do that. So I went to work for a national sales training company as a facilitator, did that for about 15 months. Once I got that experience and I took advantage of the experience that I had, in my previous job life and my previous role, I merged those two together and came up with Top Sales Performer, because coming up with Top Sales Performer was something that would be really, I think, germane to a lot of mid-sized businesses that didn't have the experience levels or the economic capability to hire national sales training firms.
Yeah, so I wanted to give we're not looking for the Coca-Colas and the IBMs of the world, right? Talk a little bit about the profile of a company, the size of the sales force that we think we can actually go in and make a material difference.
I think we can make the biggest impact on organizations that have salespeople between 20 and 200, that have sales between 50 million and 1 billion. That's really our sweet spot. We can go in and we can make a quick impact, show those people what the benefits are of consultative selling, explain to them what we feel is the right thing for them to do in order to increase their productivity, increase their close ratios, and get wider and deeper within existing accounts.
So, okay, we've profiled our target market. Talk about the unique go-to-market approach that you've developed, which I think is incredible, by the way, because it shows that we're invested up front. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I wanted to make certain that any of my prospects knew that I had skin in the game with them. And to put skin in the game with them, I just asked them to pay us to do the development work up front. Once we do the development work up front, we then go out and we do a session for them. And that session that we do, we call it a pilot session. And we bring in a small piece of their sales organization. And we present that pilot program to that pilot sales organization and to executive management. So they have the chance to critique and review what it's going to be before making a financial commitment toward moving on to the remainder of the sales staff. And it's worked very, very well. For the benefits of the client is that they have a small economic investment up front, and they control what their organization is going to see prior to them doing it to make sure that it's productive and valuable for them.
So it's a pilot process, and we want to capture the cultural nuances, the changing marketplace, the competitive landscape, and actually we were at a customer of ours yesterday, and they're doing a refresh. And what was interesting was that CXO was very interested, saying we're doing really well today in the marketplace, but we've got to have an eye towards tomorrow as the marketplace changes. So how often are you dealing with not just salespeople, but are you also seeing some organizations have sales training enablement under human resources?
That does happen because they frequently control budget. It all depends on the size of the organization. Right. So not only do we call on CXOs, we also call on the HR department to find out if that's the case. And usually when it is, it then becomes a collaborative effort between HR and sales for us to pull all of that together.
Okay, that's good to know. And I guess we talked yesterday as well, using a real life case, about the value of the role play. So let's talk about how you fundamentally have incorporated that into all elements of our training.
Well, as I said previously, all of our training curriculums are put together and they're customized specifically to that clients and to that customer's particular need and culture. We do the role plays the same way because we want the attendees to be fully engaged throughout the whole sales training curriculum and program. In order to do that, we build a customized 3-stage role play. One for the opening, one for the discovery, and one for the presentation and closing piece. They build upon one another as we go through the training so that the historical data that we create in there is realistic and it is completely set up for them to understand their customers, their business, and their competitors.
So that ties back to the investment in doing the pilot, so that we get specific desired outcomes from the company leadership, the executive leadership, and the role plays then play out an actual scenario.
That's exactly right.
Right, so of real material value. Well, Dave, we've talked about customized sales training. We also do sales consulting and team evaluations, and there's pretty unique differences there. Why don't we discuss those?
Okay. When it's all said and done, Steve, our bread and butter is doing customized sales training. However, when it gets right down to it, we are a sales consulting company. And as part of that sales consulting company, we find that there's a need out there to do sales team evaluations as well as sales consulting. So areas where this is really important are areas where a new chief sales officer or a new national head of sales has been appointed.
Chief revenue officer.
Yep, and they've been appointed in one of our clients. And he or she wants to know what they've inherited. Because typically, when you have a brand new person come into that role, sales really isn't going that well. So they ask us to evaluate the people, find out where they are and how they stand. And through one of our affiliates and business partners, we have the ability to do profiling from a personality standpoint for not only the ideal job requirement, but what the players are that they've inherited and how they fit in.
And we just did that exercise with the company, with our partner, and it was incredible. I was dumbfounded at how accurate it was, as were you.
No question.
No pre conditions. It was done actually and transparently. I was shocked at how spot on.
Very accurate, very valuable. Very, very
And that's
valuable.
something that companies in flux, or look at LinkedIn, how often do you see changes in leadership? I guarantee you that that's not been a pronounced focal point of analysis, to your point, to understand what I've inherited or to take stock of what I got.
And another target area of revenue for our company is the private equity base, because the private equity base is constantly acquiring these kinds of companies, and when they acquire these kinds of companies, they really don't know what they have.
Right.
And we can give them a really, really good insight into what they've inherited, not only from the sales teams but from sales management as well.